Hello and welcome to Carnage Candy. I'm Shaun, that's Greyson.
Hello.
We review and talk about horror all the time here on the channel, and we have recently started diving into horror anime. We've already reviewed Vampire Hunter D, and we've now stumbled upon Perfect Blue, which is one of the more popular, often labeled as one of the more terrifying anime horror films ever made. It was made by Satoshi Kon. It was based on a novel. And I just read trivia that it was originally going to be a live-action movie, but people pulled out while in pre-production, so they turned it into an anime.
I could completely understand why going the anime route is a better idea for this as well.
Yeah, we'll talk about that for sure. If you enjoy content like this, make sure and like and subscribe to the channel. Also go to hangtime.com/Patreon if you want to directly support this content. And let's start into it. I immediately was totally oversold by I came in and you watch it first and you go, this is very adult, and it is, but I was expecting, when you set me up, I thought the big scene in this was going to be way worse than it was.
The scene is horrible.
It is, but it's also not really happening, and we'll get into it in a second. But I was prepared for the accused levels of terrible.
No.
I was like very nervous, but we've got a true thriller on our plate here. We have Mima, who is this pop star with Cham. With Cham.
Yep.
And the band is the group is kind of on the up and up. We meet her at a concert, and we learn at this concert that this is her last performance. At the concert, we get some unruly fans, and then one of, kind of like one of the linesmen, is a real freaky looking dude. He kind of was staffed at the thing.
He was I think he's supposed to be almost like security there or something, or he could be working a different job. You never really know about this guy.
But he was like in a jumper of some kind.
But he changes a lot throughout the film.
Yeah.
So you never really know about him, but he definitely is something that they key in on very quickly to let you know, hey, you're going to be seeing this guy quite a few times in this film.
Yes. And he's kind of got some wild eyes and weird face proportions.
They do a really good job making him very unsettling to really reel you in with this is going to be creepy. This guy's going to do some weird stuff. Let's see where this goes.
Yeah. So Mima has decided she wants to get into acting, and one of the first gigs she gets is on a recurring series, not unlike
Law and Order.
Yeah, Law and Order SVU, basically. And we get this kind of really cool time capsule kind of moment. This was made in like 97, and she gets home, and we immediately get a setup of her room and like how the layout is, and she takes care of her fish, and there's this new thing called the internet.
Yep.
And there's a fan site devoted to her.
Yep.
And her manager, Rumi, who is helping her make the transition into acting and really cares about her, is teaching her about the World Wide Web and what the site is.
Yep.
It was really crazy because Mima was like, she got like a letter that said, I have a camera into the room. And like, she starts reading her own site.
Yeah.
And it's like she's reading exactly what happened on her way home.
Yes, something or someone has documented everything that she does in a day, up to what foot she takes or what foot she steps on to get off of a train.
Yeah.
They are that detailed in what she does in her day.
It's really cool because the setup is like it shows all these shots before she starts to read it, right?
Yes.
It shows her getting off the train, it shows her going to the grocery store, getting the specific brands of food and milk and stuff. And immediately we're like, cool. There's some kind of weird situation happening because she then realized she didn't write it. And this first scene where she gets onto the show, she kind of is reciting this line, and it's so good. She's like, hey, who are you?
This is how I know of this film.
Okay.
Is because of that line. There was, I don't know what anime it was. My brother had an anime, and the first trailer on that anime was for Perfect Blue.
Okay.
And the trailer kicks off with her saying, "Excuse me, who are you? Excuse
Yeah.
me, who are you?" And it does it over and over
In the
and
trailer
over
to
in the
market it?
trailer. And that's how they market it. And then they show other scenes from it. But when that hit, it warped me all the way back into watching
Cool.
that movie.
And the trailer, and the movie
Yes.
that the trailer was
Yes.
on?
And the cool thing is the Blu-ray that I have of this film has the same trailer on it that I
Okay.
saw on the VHS. So
Okay.
it was an awesome little time capsule that I went into.
Okay, awesome. We've already seen a fax that she got in her room the night that she reads her website that says traitor on it.
Yep.
And so we're like, okay, somebody's pissed that she's left
Yes.
Cham, right? And excuse me, who are you is the only line that she has in her debut. And it's so great because it's analogous to the entire film and where we're going. And this is where the first shit like really starts to ramp off. Her manager opens a fan mail that explodes.
Yeah.
And I imagine it was like an intense firecracker.
Yeah, it shows that it wounded him,
He's
but it was
bleeding,
nothing
maybe
major.
popped his ear or
So a
something.
bunch of minor. I think it like just tore into his face a little
Gotcha.
bit. But you never see any face damage. I think his hands are wrapped up later.
Yeah, he's
which
got
makes
some
sense
kind of
because he
blood on
opens
his
it.
hands.
Yeah.
They don't call the police.
No. They
Because
say not to worry about it. It was only minor cuts, nothing to get the police notified about.
and also Rumi and her manager are concerned about image transferring to the show, her career path changing. Also, they're still managing Cham as a duo without her. And they're a little bit upset, and her producer and her managers are upset that she only has this one line. And we quickly escalate to this point of the show is intertwined with the actual things that are happening. And this is why this is a spectacular thriller to me.
Yeah.
Is because there's no transitions to show that they're filming.
Nope.
And there's no transitions to show that it's her real life.
Yep.
So she'll go off and she'll start having conversations with characters in the anime, and she sounds like a crazy person.
Yeah.
And she's going nuts.
Mm-hmm.
But in the context of what's actually happening, it's then revealed that she's talking as her character in the show. And the character she's playing is undergoing some kind of sexual trauma and hallucinogenic episodes. And it sets up the big set piece, so to speak, of the movie that really makes it super terrifying. After the line, the studio and show kind of settle on her getting into a really intense scene where she is essayed by a group of men.
Yeah, it basically happens because the manager wants to change her image and wants to have her seen in a different light so it can show that she's not only a pop artist, she is a serious actor as well.
Yes, serious actress.
By doing that, they book her in a role that the other manager, Rumi, doesn't want her to do.
Yeah.
The main manager wants this to happen. She does not because, as Shaun said, there's a major essay scene in it.
Yeah. We get in, so the setup is like, and Greyson told me, I was expecting the worst ever. I just because of the hype, right? And it's even like situationally, it's even more terrifying as a viewer because they've already started to blend the lines of like, is this real life or is this for the screen?
And I think that's what makes it so difficult. And I think that's why it messes with me so much, is because at this point in time in the film, you are still piecing together what is real and what is not.
Mm-hmm.
Is she hallucinating? Is this a real thing? Are they on a set? Even though she talks to the person who's acting and the actor apologizes, there is that moment that you have in the back of the head that is this real?
But also, not only is this real, it's, do we trust anybody that's on the set with her?
Yeah.
Who sent the letter to her? Because we assume it's the stalker, right? With the face and whoever's kind of making this site. And it's like, is the stalker one of the guys, or is it the mess up face there? So we have a 4D wraparound of what's happening. And once her panic and tears start to set in and she's screaming on set, and it's like, man, she's a really good actress. And then it's like, wait, is she going to start hallucinating?
Yep.
And it's like, not only are we scared for her because we're thinking, is this real or not? We're also scared for her because we're scared that she's going to think it's real.
Yes. And they have a scene after, or while this is going on, that cuts back into the studio booth to let you know, okay, you're in real life here.
Yeah.
This is a studio that you're in. And it cuts to Rumi having a complete breakdown at what's happening on the set. It is not what she wanted for her friend, who is also her client.
Yeah.
It makes her feel uncomfortable, and she leaves in tears. So there is that moment of this is on a set.
Yeah. It lets you stew in it for a good 3 minutes before it happens,
and then it cuts to the main director or the main manager with her in the car. She is playing it's fine, I was acting, and he feels horrible about what he put her
He
through.
also saw Rumi kind of leave, right?
So he knows that the role that was given to her that fast probably wasn't the best choice right off the bat.
Yeah. And like, again, so if I get something out of order, just please forgive me, because it is like, this is constantly trying to mind screw you, right?
It does. It is a very hard movie, not in a bad way, to recall everything that happens in order, because it kind of goes all out of whack at points.
It's wandering to make you second guess yourself as a viewer the whole time.
It makes you want to watch it a second time is what it does.
Yeah, for sure. We get some more hints and notes that there's some kind of stalker running around. We still don't know if she's hallucinating that there's a stalker. But we do know that one of the unruly fans at Original Concert is involved in a hit and run.
Yep.
And we assume it's from our man with the disfigured face who stopped him from misbehaving at the concert. We also get a series of paranoia.
Yep.
Who's watching me? And she keeps waking up in her apartment over and over and over again. And while we're bouncing between is this real life versus movie, she's always waking up in different situations, and she handles the filming of the SA scene as professionally as we think she can.
Yes.
And it escalates. She's, in keeping to transfer her image, she's now booking with a photographer who's going to take some very exotic photos of her, right? We also learn in this area that Cham is very successful. As
they're a duo.
As a duo, yes. And we also know that she is starting to see herself and talk to herself. All at the same time. This kind of pop version of her.
She sees her former self.
Yeah, she sees her former self. She sees her pop version of herself. And this pop version of herself is just moving around like a dancing fairy.
It's a ghost. Almost. Yeah.
She's just prancing around and floating and just teasing her the whole time. And like, I gotta be honest, at this point, I am legitimately like, this, I'll say it, I'm like, this is perfect. If this devolves into some crap where you don't get any answers, I'm going to be extremely pissed at this movie.
And there are moments when you're first watching it to where you think that's going to happen.
Yeah. I at this point, I'm like, I'm not frustrated, but I am lost, and in a good way. And I'll talk about it a little bit more towards the wrap of the video, but I love feeling overwhelmed for a character.
Yeah.
That's probably one of the reasons I love Smile 2 so much.
That makes sense.
I think that's one of the reasons why Evil Dead 2013 resonates with me. That's why The Thing resonates with me.
That's why all Evil Deads will resonate with you. Yeah. That's what they're all about.
it's why the Thing, obviously, and it's even like body horror movies. That's why it's just like Mima is so out of her depth.
Yep.
And I'm so tired for her. And so we get this photography scene done, and it's very sexy, and there's these two guys at the concert, right? He's in his business suit and he talks to his friend. He's like in a tan suit.
They show up a lot through
It's kind of like in Major League.
Yeah.
It's like we get snapshots of what the fans are thinking.
Supposed to be the fans' output is what you're getting during the film, which is really cool.
Yeah.
Because when the movie comes out, they're there, and when the pictures finally come up, they're there as well.
Yeah.
And that's what pushes the story on. And every time you see them, you see the stalker there as well. So he's there to interact as well. So you'll see them talking. He's always around them somewhere, which I love. It's really cool how they push the story forward. So when the magazine comes out, they get excited. Then the stalker shows up and is angry.
Yeah.
Grabbing the magazines out of everybody's hands, buying every magazine he can. And it just pushes that narrative just a little bit more of, this guy's getting dangerous. He's getting way over the top here. Where is this going to go?
Yeah. And at the same time, and with that, Mima hallucinates that she sees him.
Again.
Or does
Yep.
she? Right? There's this great scene where she's really starting to implode, and she's just at the docks talking to somebody and confiding in somebody. And once again, I forget that she's filming.
Yep.
I'm like, oh man, she's going crazy at the docks. And no, she's talking to the cop on the show. And especially after like the essay scene, I'm like, this is extremely high quality.
It is.
Like,
it is a very high quality anime, like to the utmost degree. It is.
And she hallucinates that she sees the stalker. Maybe because she's with Emmy
Eerie, yeah.
Yeah, who is another famous actress, and it's her show.
She's one of the main characters on the show. She plays the doctor of the show.
Yeah. We kind of really start to spiral after the photography thing, and we kind of get, if this is out of order, forgive me, but we get the first murder.
Yeah.
It's one of the writers of the show where she was cast for, right?
Yep.
He gets his eyes stabbed out.
Yeah,
in an elevator.
He's in a parking garage, and he hears music from, I think it's supposed to be from the band that she was in. I think it's one of their songs. The elevator door opens. It's just a boombox, and then the next scene you get is
his eyes.
A really graphic but simple scene.
Yeah,
it's just the doors open up and his eyes are gone, and there's blood everywhere.
Yeah, and I don't want to forget the soundtrack here has that Silent Hill.
Yes, it does.
Nocturne.
Yep.
Like just that creepy
it's
Japanese
very good.
synths. Yeah,
very good.
We have that's our first murder. Then things get really out of control. If I skip something again, just go back. We get to her photographer, and he orders a pizza.
Yep.
And at this point, Mima's apartment is kind of going out of control. We get a really cool bathtub scene. Her fish have died. And we go to this part where her photographer is kind of watching the news and learning about everything that's happening with the murders and all that. And his pizza boy shows up, and then he begins to get stabbed to death in a really horrific stabbing scene.
It's really wild on how good this scene looks.
Yeah, I know.
Because the animation in this scene is different from every other scene in the whole movie.
Yeah, we get crazy motions, and he gets stabbed in the eye. He reaches for the phone and gets stabbed through the hand. And then it's revealed that Mima is in disguise as a pizza boy killing this guy. Mima has blood kind of all over her, and luckily we find out when Mima wakes up that her bloody clothes are in her room. So yes, she has murdered her photographer.
Yep. So once again, we have gone to something big has happened, cut to Mima waking up.
Yep.
So there's still that thing in your head of, okay, where are we once again?
Yeah.
And this is an hour into this film.
Yeah, because she wakes up. Oh, it's a dream.
Mhm.
She finds the bloody clothes. Oh, it's not a dream.
Yep.
Oh, she wakes up.
Mhm.
It's a dream.
Yeah.
And it, once again, I'm just like, it's like this movie is like a bridge,
Yep.
right? And I'm waiting for it to just not
Mhm.
just kind of fall apart, right? We kind of turn to this third act where we get a shot of Mima and she's being talked about by doctors, and how like the sexual trauma of what she experienced made her realize, or she kind of got her identity mistaken for her twin sister. And I'm like, oh, that explains so much.
Yeah.
And why the look is saying.
Yeah.
And I'm like, finally I get answers, and it's the show.
Yep. Once again. And it pulls such a swerve on you because you're so late into the film. You think this is the wrap up.
Yeah.
You think, okay, here we go. That's why she went on the rampage. That's why all those people are dying. She's hallucinating all the stuff that happened in her past. And it's all coming to fruition right here in front of you.
Yeah, and the binary, it's like, that's why she sees
Yes.
herself. That's why she talks to herself. That's why she.
It is the perfect bait and switch right there.
Yeah.
Oh, it was so good.
And so there's there's a couple of cool things with her reflection and how she sees herself in her pop star version. You know, she gets out of the car to chase herself. I love the small foot chase in the subway where she goes after herself, and there's this one shot where she's running down the stairs and it does a close up of her like looking at herself through the stairwell. Like she's like,
it's cool.
It's really cool. And she falls down the stairs and stuff. My favorite line of the entire movie is kind of after this, before we get into the final act. She's reading, or is she writing her memoir? And she goes, and she reads it and she says, I guess I went to the market today.
Yep.
She says, I guess I went to the market.
And it's so cool because you can understand why she's going through this, because somehow everything she does in a day is recorded and talked about.
Yeah. And she's like reading it or reciting it.
Yes.
You don't really know. And she's second guessing herself or what she's reading.
Yes.
Because what she's reading about what she did may or may not be true.
Yes.
And it's tracking her movements.
Yes. It's amazing.
I was like, okay, cool. If this sticks to landing, this is an immortal classic, because that's and she's messed up.
Oh yeah,
her ass is so tired.
It's bad, and you see her just going down this hole, and you feel bad.
Yeah,
but you still have 20 minutes left of this movie, and something big's got to happen.
And it does. We finally get the reveal that there is a stalker.
Yep.
It's Mima. It's like a
Mania.
Yeah, who is kind of like the
stalker.
Maimania, excuse me. Yeah, the stalker has been tracking her.
Yep.
Is writing. And he writes messages to himself of love and affection from Mima. And just incel heaven.
Yep.
His room. And that ghost Mima comes up and hugs him.
It is crazy on how all this happens.
Yeah, and so it's like, cool. Answers, stalkers there, got it.
Messing with her because she's never experienced anything like she's seeing. So of course she would start messing with her head because she's reading what she does in a day.
Yeah.
Even though it's because somebody's stalking her and recording everything she's doing.
Yeah, and so it's like, cool, okay. She's just going crazy because the stalker's driving her crazy. Until
the wrap up.
We get Mima back in the studio, and it finally just all comes to a head. Stop me if I miss something, but Maimania is after her. He's boiled over. He's gone fully crazy. He tries to assault her on the same stage where it was filmed. And man, my girl's fighting back and
sure does.
swinging as much as possible. It's pretty brutal, but she comes up with this hammer and just knocks him.
It's a brutal thud too.
Yeah, it's right in the melon. And then is it Rumi or is it her manager that it's Rumi, right?
Rumi comes in, or Rumi finds her in the hallway because she has gotten out of where it was, and she informs Rumi, there's somebody in there. They tried to attack me. I stopped them. And then Rumi goes to check. Suddenly, they're not there.
They're gone.
It's gone.
And so you're like, oh, it's gonna do the thing.
Yep.
The movie's gonna bomb itself.
But then it changes again.
We go into Mima's room. She wakes up again. She wakes up in her apartment, and
Her fish are back.
Her fish are back, and you knew the fish were gonna come back. I just got the goosebumps. Look at that.
Yeah.
Oh man. And her apartment's like mirrored a little bit.
Yep.
And she's like, "Wait, this isn't my apartment.
Where am I?"
And again, it's all boiled over. I am just like, cool, I don't know where you are either, girl. Are you dreaming? It must be a dream. Like
that right there is what kept me going. Is what you just said.
Yeah. And it is like, are you talking? Did the stalker kidnap you?
Yes.
Did he recreate your room because he knows what it looks like? Are you dreaming? And we get this really good reveal of Mima in this red dress.
Yep.
And she just kind of shifts around, and we now find out that Rumi has not taken her metamorphosis out of pop stardom and into film very well.
Nope, not at all.
Rumi is crazy.
Yep.
Rumi has set up all of this, including getting the stalker to attack her. And we find out that Rumi has ensured that the manager is dead.
Yep.
Her cohort that took
the stalker is dead.
Yeah. And that the stalker is dead, finished off because of his unaccomplishment of killing Mima. We get like, and it's just cool because it's like, oh man, like the stalker and Rumi are just like a perfect storm of psychosis for everything that's happened. And the whole movie, then all the water you thought, the movie just goes, I got it right there. And I look, I've not watched a lot of anime. Again, this is like probably like my this is definitely less than 10 anime films I've ever watched. But Rumi gets this ice pick screwdriver thing out, and she's trying to stab Mima, and Mima chokes Rumi, but it looks like Mima.
Yep.
And as she's choking, Mima's eyes bulge out. And then instead of like just Mima looking intense, like the dream Mima, this eye bulges out, and then the face shifts into Rumi.
It is awesome.
Yeah. And we get awesome foot chase kind of action scene.
About a 3-minute chase and events going on right here, which are really, really good. And it comes down to probably one of the most tense conclusions to a chase ever.
Yeah, we get the Rumi's wig kind of goes flying. Mima gets stabbed.
Yes.
It's
twice, I do believe.
Yeah, it's not looking good. Rumi's wig comes off, and she can't let it go.
Nope.
They've already busted a store window, and Rumi reaches for it, like just goes.
Yep, right into her gut.
Oh God.
She falls back, goes into the streets, having a complete breakdown in the streets.
Yeah.
You see a light coming. There's a truck on its way. In my head, I'm thinking, this is going to be the goriest scene of the whole movie.
Yeah.
I'm thinking they are gonna do this dirty.
Yeah.
It's gonna be so violent.
Yeah.
And Mima, being the amazing person that she is, saves her.
It's good to get somebody saved in a movie and you really didn't see it coming.
It is.
I
thought one or two things were gonna happen when Mima was running. One, she wasn't going to make it in time and Rumi was going to get absolutely obliterated.
Yeah.
Or two, they were both going to get hit by the truck.
Yeah.
And they were both going to die, and it was going to be a very, very bleak ending.
Yeah, like really, really sad.
But it doesn't.
we wake up from everything that's happened, and we get into the psychiatric ward.
Yep.
And my first thought is like, this is a movie.
Yeah.
Because of what the film's done. I'm like, this is a movie.
Yeah.
This ain't real.
Yeah.
And nah, man, Rumi's gone crazy.
You see her walking around. Mima's talking with the doctor. The doctor is explaining to her, we will never see Rumi again.
Rumi has left.
Rumi is gone. She is now taken on this form. This is her from here on out.
Yeah. And the nurses are like, "Oh man, was that pop star Mima from Champ?"
No, it was just someone who looked like her. And Mima hears it as she's walking by. And
I love this final line, and it's just like Mima like looks in the rearview mirror and she's like, "I'm the real thing."
Yeah.
And
the final line of the movie of her acknowledging that it is her. There's nothing else. It's me.
Yeah.
It finally lets you breathe.
Yeah.
And that, oh man, it's so
It would be so unfair for a movie that has this kind of structure to not give you confirmation of how it ended, right? It would be, I mean, like, I remember, because like Smile 2, it's like, if they just like left it ambiguous in either of those movies that they were crazy, or if like in Candyman,
yeah,
if it was just like, I don't know if the bad guy's in her or not, that would suck so bad.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's an issue with me with a lot of movies, that like they won't just tell the audience the story that they need to hear. And I think that's why this being from 97 is like so good. This is kind of before movies started doing that.
It is so ahead of its time in so many different ways. And it makes you appreciate it that much more because of that.
Yeah. And to have fan websites and stalkers have been around for forever, right? But to use the web as like a tool for plot devices and, toxic fandoms, the themes here are just exploding.
They are, yeah.
I looked into this and I was like, okay, cool. That's a perfect film, like top to bottom. People have to love this. It wasn't that well received when it came out. People were like, it's pretty good.
I think it's because it is a lot to take in. And in 97, that is a lot to throw at a person in a movie. So I can completely understand why a lot of people thought, hey, maybe it's a little too much out there. Maybe there's a little bit too much sauce in this.
Yeah.
But nowadays, watching it, I think time has only made this film better.
Yeah.
Personally. It's gorgeous. Every single shot of this movie is so pretty. I love every time you pull out of the scene being shot and you see the TV, I love the lines in the screen to show that it's on the television. Because
it'll just be like, okay, here's the drama. It's a television show.
Oh, I love it every time.
But yeah, it's like, it's this erotic thriller. It's straight out of the 90s too.
Yep.
It's like, we're talking Verhoeven, like Basic Instinct type shit, like, and it's just high quality all the way around. It's violent, and
it feels like Tarantino and Rodriguez would be on the back of this box praising it.
Yeah, that's like in the 90s.
Like. Yes, that's what this feels like to me.
Yeah. Like, it doesn't, not that it feels like a Tarantino or Rodriguez movie.
No, it feels like a film that they would be producing now.
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. Darren Aronofsky, who is actually making, or rumored to make, the Cujo movie, loves this movie a lot.
I can see why.
He's talked about it a lot of times, but again, like I said, I love, what do you call it? What do you call it? With distrustful protagonists,
yes.
Right? You cannot trust anything that's happening in this movie at any time.
Mm-hmm.
And again, I thought it was going to be wandering, and then it ends up just being a really tight package. 10 out of 10. I loved it.
Yeah, I'm right there with you. I don't know how many times I'll watch this, but I know I will watch it again at some point. I know I will sit down, I will listen to a commentary that's on it, I will get into behind the scenes stuff more on it, and hopefully one day they will, make a live action version of this, because it would make, in this day and time, this movie would be perfect to redo.
Yeah, it'd be wonderful.
Did you have, any time that you were watching this movie, was there a point to where you thought that it was just going to be like, there's no way that it could be as good that as I said that it was?
Yeah, I mean, so I appreciate you not telling me it was good or bad. You just said it was very adult.
It is.
And it is very adult.
And I think the reason why I said that to you is, seeing as you haven't seen so many animes, I wanted to let you know that this is more like a live action film than it is an anime that we've watched before.
Yeah, this isn't, there's nobody flying around in this,
no.
right?
There is, in a way, but it's because it's in her mind.
Yeah, it's not, there's no Vampire Hunter D fight
No,
scenes
there's no
in it.
superpowers or anything like that. It's
Yeah.
very real.
Yeah, and I think that there's just so much thought, and it is based on a novel, of course, so that'd be interesting to read at the same time. But like, I don't know. I think it's just a really sick, badass time capsule of, I imagine, pushing boundaries with a clever medium that they could afford to do.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's an immortal classic and spectacular. I love it. I'm looking forward to, I will definitely watch another Satoshi film and see what else has happened.
I do believe he made another really popular film called, I think it's Paprika is what it's called. Was on the list as well.
Okay.
Whenever I was looking up movies. So Perfect Blue, that, Vampire Hunter D, and Demon City, and a couple other ones were all in like a row.
Okay,
whenever
cool.
I pulled this up.
Yeah, but yeah, I had a great time watching it.
Yes.
I hope you guys enjoy the anime content. Do you have anything else you want to say about it, or?
I'm just happy that I finally watched it.
Yeah.
This is definitely one that, if you are watching this and you have not sit down, even after what all we have said, you still need to go and watch this film. It deserves it, honestly.
Yeah, and we've missed, there's so much nuance and thoughtfulness. I mean, it's just super clever, top to bottom. But make sure and go watch our Vampire Hunter D review if you like anime stuff. We are just getting into this, and we thought it'd be fun to experiment with the channel. So enjoy it. Go watch it. Greyson, great job picking this one.
Thank you.
I can't wait to watch Demon City with you, or talk about it with you.
Yes, it'll be
it.
a lot. It'll be a lot of fun. But thank you so much. If you know of any other horror animes that you would like us to watch, please put it down in the comments. Like Shaun said, we're still new to this. Give us all the information we need. We want to see more.
Bye-bye.
Goodbye.